I'm super curious about your thoughts regarding our next story because this one will make you gag. A freshman college student lived the ultimate college nightmare after her dorm roommate began secretly harassing her. She felt ill after the roommate reportedly tampered with her personal items for over a month. What did she do? Allegedly, she admitted to spitting in her coconut oil, putting moldy clam dip in her lotions, rubbing body fluids on her backpack, and putting her toothbrush where the sun doesn't shine. And this was all described in a Facebook Live video. The alleged offender is no longer a student. This was, I guess, a scenario where the alleged offender had requested a different roommate. Didn't happen, so it's an interesting scenario to say the least. It's really sad.
It's very sad.
I mean, this is the roommate from hell.
It's sad. It has a racial twist to it, too. The alleged offender called the roommate some racial slurs. She called her like Jamaican Barbie, and she made some other kind of racially tinged comments about her. I don't know if you remember, Travis, we did a show about a student in South Carolina, 2015, who was putting Windex in her roommate's food. Remember that story?
I think I do.
So these stories, this isn't the first time that we've had these roommate from hell kind of stories.
Right. Well, and this was a scenario where the offender was charged with a misdemeanor criminal mischief, breach of peace, free on $1,000 bail after a court appearance. This is bullying, to sort of the next degree, because I hate to say this, things like putting your toothbrush or someone's toothbrush where the sun doesn't shine is not only disgusting, it's beyond disgusing. It's actually dangerous too.
Yeah. Right.
We always talk about fecal oral illnesses. Well, that's how you get sick.
And this young lady started to feel, symptoms in her throat, and that's what led her to believe that this roommate was doing something to her personal items.
Criminal about this behavior?
Oh yeah, she's been charged with
assault,
a misdemeanor, so she could face jail time.
Hey, and even though you're against this, I'm willing to bet the people in the audience would say if the judge had said, okay, well, you have to stick your toothbrush where the sun doesn't shine and then use it.
And then brush your teeth, okay.
Yeah, and college population too, I mean, they're very vulnerable to bullying. I mean, it's the first time they're on their own usually, and it's stressful. You're in close quarters. People do fight with their roommates, but this is not the way to resolve conflict, and they needed to catch this so much sooner.
And sometimes college students think that there are no consequences for things that they think are pranks, and we've seen in that 2015 case, that young lady was charged with a felony, and in this case, she's been charged with a misdemeanor. So these so-called college pranks can have serious consequences. You can be kicked out of school and also face criminal prosecution. Hey, why just not get a new roommate?
Yeah, well,
just get a new roommate.
Well, but in this scenario, this highlights something different to me. Is when you go off to college, it's time to mature.
Yes.
It's time to reach beyond your normal boundaries, and maybe you don't get the roommate that you thought. Maybe you were going to go to college with your best friend, but for some reason, there's a lottery system and you weren't able to room with your best friend. Well, what's great about college is you meet new people.
Yes.
You learn about new people, you make new friends, and you make the most of it, and you learn more about yourself in the process. I think this immature behavior.
You can be forced to live in the dorm, for example, with a real bully.
Yeah,
just from the get-go.
You have to report that conduct.
Well, but my point is that if you are forced to live with a bully, you report that, and then the university or college should get you a new roommate. What I'm referring to here, Drew, is the people who do the bullying. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get my roommate who I wanted, so I'm going to treat this person poorly, as opposed to, you know what, I'm going to talk to this person and try to become friends with them.
And learn something from the experience.
If the victim had actually gotten some kind of disease because of the toothbrush, I mean, then yes, right? That would have been a possible
absolutely.
thing
If there had been more serious injury, she absolutely would have been charged with something more seriously. But I think the takeaway for kids is if you're having problems in your campus or your dorm, you have to go to the authorities, you have to go to the college and tell your parents, because parents can also help you. And a lot of times kids don't want to call mom and dad.
Student housing is really attuned to this now because it happens. There's more and more bullying. They're there for you.
One other quick comment on this, and this is something you find in the world of medicine, is if you have nondescript symptoms, and in this scenario, she was feeling a little bit ill. Yeah. You do have to ask yourself, are you having any occupational hazardous exposures? In this case, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
And I need to come clean. So, Drew, I was mad at you earlier today.
Drew, check your water.
toothbrush out, buddy.